Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the stream and another chapter. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, working on him right there. That is our F-35A Lightning II 1/48 scale kit by Tamiya. So, we're going to run the intro and we'll see what's next. Okay guys, so we're back and we're going to continue on this. Obviously didn't get a lot done last time. Went through the sprues and everything that comes in this kit and started doing some of the primer on it. So off camera, I finished all the white priming on everything. So I basically got a kit with like a good 90% of the stuff has been primered white. Stuff that I'm not going to be using, obviously I didn't bother priming that stuff. And that's what I do. And is it just me or is my camera blurry? Are you blurry? Okay. So as I was saying, I've got a whole bunch of sprues that have a whole bunch of white parts on them now because it's all primered white. Okay. And so I've been doing a little bit of detail painting on this for getting ready for like step 2 and 3. There's a lot of little assemblies I want to complete before I start actually doing any of the like detail painting. For example, if I go to step number 2, we're starting to assemble the cockpit area. And so I've got to do all the little detail stuff in the little cockpit bucket. Little buttons and switches need to be painted and things like that. I've already painted the bucket itself, the XF-54. What is the color? Light sea gray or something like that? Sorry, dark sea gray, XF-54. So I've done that and a couple of bits here and there. So just kind of getting started with this, kind of getting it prepared and ready. So let's change the camera. We'll put a few things together today and we'll just get started on this. How about that? Okay, enough talking. Let's get started. Okay, let's change the camera here. Is the camera gonna work? Work for me. Yay, yes, okay. Now I can put my other glasses back on. You might notice I've highlighted some things in my book here. What I've done is I went through every page and trying to call out whenever I need to put in a decal, because there's a lot of decals thrown in throughout this kit. Okay, so even in the cockpit here, we've got the decals for our control panels. So of course now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to have to get some water. I want to put some decals on because putting the decals on the panels before you actually install the panels makes it a heck of a lot easier to put the decals on and get them placed exactly where you need them. So I think maybe that's what we're going to start with, is some decal application today. So let me go grab some water. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we've got some water here, ready for some decals. I'm going to get these applied first, and then we'll put a couple of other pieces together while the decals are setting. So let's grab at the bottom of our box here our decal sheets. I'm not sure which sheets these are going to be coming off of, since we have like 4 sheets of decals. I don't know if it's this one. It's not going to be that one. It might be, hopefully it's one of the smaller ones. Let's just pull this out of here. I think this might be the weapons sheet on here. We'll see here. So basically we're going to be looking for, starting with decals number 286, 87, 89, and 90. And it looks like 02's 81, 2, 3, 4, there's 291, 285, 288, 87, 86, yeah, right here. Okay. All right. And then it looks like that's all that we're going to need is this sheet. So these can go back in the box. I'll change the camera so you can at least see the whole process. How about that? Okay. Okay. So we got to find these 4 decals right here. And it looks like 286 right there, 87. I need 289 right here and 290. All right. So these two right here. Okay. There we go. And we need 286 and 89. Now sometimes you can leave the little numbers on the card. I find my little numbers, they just wind up floating in the water. So sometimes what I like to do, when I know exactly what the decals are and where they go, what I'll do is I'll take my little file and I'll just kind of, I'll just kind of rub one out here, just like that. And now I don't have to worry about some weird decal floating in my water and possibly messing up a decal that I'm actually going to use. Okay, so there you go. So I disintegrated my numbers. So now, oh no, where do they go? Well, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Okay, since my other ones are over here, 287 and 290, those are obviously going right here, 287 and 290. That's these ones. So these ones are going to go on this side. So I'll put these in the water. I'll grab my tweezers wherever I put them. There we go. You don't get to run away. You get to sit here. Okay. Put these in the water. We'll see how long it takes. Now this looks like it's part of what? Part of the bucket, I think. Let's get the bucket off the sprue. While we're waiting for the decals to soften up. We got that. We can take a couple of more parts off here that we're going to be needing soon enough. This guy here, we need our pedals, number A20. Where did they go? I've seen them a few times. I painted them. Here they are. Okay, we need that. We need our control guys. We need our little walls. So a whole bunch of little things we need here. I'll take these guys off in a minute here. There's other things that we need to worry about. Okay, let's just do that. Let's have a look, see if our decals are ready. Do they move in the water? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, they're not ready yet. That gives me time to clean up my nubs. It's one of those rare kits that, they don't make you paint the 40 different control knobs and switches on our panel. I mean, yeah, I had to paint a few on this one, so you got them painted on there, right? So yeah, there's a few you got to paint. I mean, hey, it is what it is. You guys have seen me use those little resin panels that they make, resin control panels. Those things are really awesome. If you're like me and you suck at painting those tiny little knobs and switches, Quinta Studios, I believe is the name. Red Fox too, they make some as well. I think for quality wise, I'd say the Quinta Studios look nicer, but they come direct from the Ukraine. And of course, with the situation in the Ukraine, they can take a little time to get here. I've had them take as much as a month. Decals are now willing to move and slide on the sheet. So let's get our bucket aligned the way they want it here. Looks like this. So this guy is going to go right here. I'll get him lined up perfect in a second. And then this guy's going to go in this spot. Right there. Okay. So let's get these two that decimated off of there. And you too, Mr. 287, you gotta go. You have been eliminated. Yes. Okay, in the water it goes. Okay, now we can deal with these. Get these lined up where they belong. Actually, it was looking pretty good here. It looks pretty good. This one, glasses really tan my hide sometimes. This one I want to get lined up right there. Okay, now let's find a Q-tip or cotton bud, whatever you prefer. Q-tip being the brand name, of course. Squeeze any water out from underneath them that might be there. Let's make sure this is still straight. Sometimes the cotton buds just don't do the job. Let's pull that back. There we go. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is I always use this Mark Fit Super Strong on my decals to get them to shrink and suck down onto the kit and fill and go into all the little nooks and crannies and stuff like that. They'll shrink and they'll go down into the panel lines and stuff, all that fun stuff, and make it look like, well, not so much like a great big sticker stuck onto the top of everything. Okay, so those two are done. We're still waiting for these two. Let's see how they are. Oh, they're already ready to move. Okay, perfect. These ones became ready a little quicker. So, this guy, he goes up top here. Bingo. Close enough. And then this guy is going to go down here. And you see, this guy's a perfect example because this little black rectangle, he goes on top of a little box that sits up a little high. And so how is that going to work if it doesn't suck down? And sometimes they need a little help. Sometimes you need to cut them with a knife or something like that. Make a little slit in the carrier film. And I'm going to do that right here. Just kind of work the knife on there a little bit and make a little slit in the decal. So that helps it a little bit once I apply my Mark Fit on there and it starts to do its magic. Okay, I think we're lined up pretty good. Maybe I could move this just a little bit more further back. Yeah, okay. Let's get some of my Mark Fit on there. You see, sometimes when you're putting the Mark Fit on there, it moves your decal. You have to work quick because it starts to soften that decal very quickly. And so you only have a few moments to get your decal set where it needs to go. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit more on this side because this stuff does evaporate quite quickly. And sometimes it evaporates so quickly it didn't have a chance to really do what it wants to do. Okay, so with that done, we can look at a couple of other things here. We've got our walls, and I haven't painted them all the detail on my walls yet. So I got to paint a couple little things on this wall here. I've got to do some yellow, some chrome, some black. Yeah, I got stuff to do on this one. This one, I can glue A67 into that little notch there. So let's find A67. I know that was this little guy over here. This guy here. Okay. And he goes in like this. Just like that. It's a nice tight fit. Of course, I've got to paint it, so there you go. That's your one wall where A67 goes into A58. Okay, just like that. So I'll put a little glue on that, make sure that stays forever. My Tamiya extra thin, of course. Just apply it onto the back side, that way I don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, that's that. So that's done. I can put that aside. I can put my petals in. Petals go towards the front here. It looks like they go into that little, there's a little notch. You guys see that little notch right there? I believe that's where petals go, right where I'm pointing with my tweezers. So if I shove my petals into that hole, I don't even have to shove, they go just slide right in. I just hold them there and I can glue them from the bottom because it's a hole, so yay. I don't have to worry about glue coming up from the floor. There we go. Now we have, see, they show all the painting detail on this, but they don't show us where it goes. Well, it looks like it goes at the front, actually. No, it goes here. This is the back wall. Okay, so this little tab right here goes into that hole. See if I can do this without interfering with my decals. It's a pretty tight little fit. But it slides in perfect. It's tight, but it goes in just like that. I can deal with that. Okay, I'm going to glue it from the back here. So I got contact all the way around, so that's nice. That's a nice fit. All right. So there's that. Okay, our little back wall where all our switches are. Okay, that's in. I can put this wall on because I've already dealt with the detail on this one. So I could put this wall down in, and that goes in right there. Okay. So we have a little hole for that peg. And it just hooks around the back of this. That's a nice little fit. I like that. So a little bit extra thin on the back there. And where the peg's going through that hole, I can even run some a little along here. That'll work. There we go. And the right wall's in, just like that. Okay, got our right wall in there. As you can see, it's kind of hooks around the back here. It looks like my Mark Fit Super Strong has dried yet again. So I'm going to apply some more to my decals here. I've been known to apply this stuff like 4, even 5 times to get those decals to sit down where they need to go. Okay, so I'm not doing this wall yet because I need to do a little painting, but I can put my little control handles in. And so we're going to get A65 and A64, and we're going to put them in. So 64 and 65 are over here. Actually, I'm not ready to, I could do 64, but I'm not ready for 65. I got to paint a couple little buttons on 65 here. But we can get this one in. Let's just do that. Clean up that nub. Okay. Now this guy, it looks like the flat part actually is the part that goes down and goes down like that and goes into this little spot right here that happens to be soaking wet with the Mark Fit. So I'm not going to be putting that on. I'm going to put this aside. Okay. So we're going to put the cockpit on pause, and we're going to leave this. We're going to put this aside for now and let this all dry. Okay. I'm going to turn on my air conditioning because it is hot in here. We've got a good over 27 degrees. So it's hot and I'm starting to sweat. Okay, so with this drying and we're waiting, we're going to go down to step number 4. We're going to work on our nose gear. Again, we've got decals that need to go on things, okay? So our nose gear seems to come on with its own little sprue. If I can find it here. These guys here. So I need to apply a few decals to the walls. So let's find our decals. We got to get 306, 307, 291. $291 is right here. Just saw it. Where'd it go? Right here. $291. I need 306 and 7. They're down here. And I need 293 and 292. These two. Okay. Let's deal with these two first. They're going to go on that wall. That means that's, flip this over, that's this one here, number 1, M1. Might as well get these off the sprues while we're getting this ready. Oddly enough, they don't want you gluing the strut. They say here, don't glue this. And you're going to put it in laying down. And then later on, when it's time to put the wheels on and put your landing gear down, you're going to cut this little block off and you're going to lift it up. It's weird how they've decided to do that. Yet, that's what we're doing. So decals feel like they're just starting to release from the paper. So we can pull this out. And you can see what I mean by my decals doing this. So 292 goes over here onto this box, and that would be this piece. This one here goes onto here. 293 goes over onto this one. Well, these are flat, so all it's going to take is getting them lined up so that they're straight. Get the water out from underneath of them. So, and that's really all you need to do. I don't have to use the mark fit on them, like, because they're already going to stay down. That's fine. They're going to be fine. Okay. So that's these ones. Actually, I have this upside down. So I'm going to have to get some more water now that I've squeezed the water out. And I have this one on the wrong angle too. So this one has to flip around. Let's just see if I can pull it up. Let's do that. Get that water out of there. And that has to go like this. And this one has to be rotated like so. So pay attention to your orientation. Because the way it is on the decal sheet isn't necessarily the way it is on the kit, or the way that's supposed to be. There. Now it matches the diagram. Let's move this one up just a little bit. There we go. Which makes me even happier that I didn't put the mark fit on there, because it would have started to shrink them and soften it up and all that stuff. Okay, so what did I just do? 291, where are you? You go on this wall. Only one decal on this wall. It goes right there. And it's ready to go. Okay. And he goes on this box like this. Here we go. You guys want to see the decals up close? There you go. Okay. I'll show you the other ones here. There you go. Okay. That's how they go. So now we've got a couple of decals that need to go onto our little shaft here. And that's fine. So that's 306 and 7. These two guys. It's not going to matter which ones are which. So I'm going to just go zing. Put these in the water. And while that is working, we're going to grab off of the E tree, we're going to grab E8 and E7. E7 and 8. So I got to find my E tree. That's G. There's E. Found my E. E7 and 8, right? Yes, E8 and E7. Here they are, right here. It's E8, E7. And they go onto the floor of this thing. E8, it's got a little, kind of this little notch. Looks like he's going to go in right here. Okay, I want to clean up my little nub that I left on there. to just put a little glue. I'll just put it right on here and shove them in. And just for good measure, a little extra. Okay, E7 goes into this little hole behind him. Where did E7 go? Where'd you go? Here you are. E7 goes with, it's kind of a weird looking little pipe. So it looks like, yeah, goes like that. I suppose if I put it like this, it would be going the wrong way. So they show you its installation over here and how it looks. And that would be the direction. So it should go straight back when it's all said and done. So hole on the bottom here, I'm going to use that to secure E7. Make sure he's straight up and down and 90 degrees and he's straight back and all that, all those good angles to try and keep that the way it's supposed to go. So there you go. That's the way I've done E7. We'll find out if that's correct later on. Let's have a look at our decals. They are ready to go. Okay. Just going to put them here. Get my strut. They're going to go on each side of the strut here. So we show like bing, like this. This little pipe thing sticking up on the left, just like the picture. And so we're going to grab this one. And he goes there. This side. And this guy. Come on. There we go. And he goes on this side. I'm going to shut that off. There we go. Okay, so because this is on a curved surface, this is where the mark fit really helps out a lot because, you know, the decals want to lay flat. They don't want to really curve around an object very much. So this is where the mark fit really helps them to conform. You just need to make sure they're not all crooked and funny looking. We'll come back to these in a minute. To make sure. That one's already starting to lay down. This one is too. That's great. I just need to make sure they're straight up and down. Oops. That's looking pretty good. Okay. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see those little decals in the top of the shaft there. Okay. Yeah. So we've got to let those dry now. Alrighty. Alrighty. But in spite of the fact that we need to let those dry, I think we can put a little bit of assembly going on here. So we can take this and grab a couple of walls. Okay. And so this wall is going to go on this side, lining up our little tabs in there like this. Alrighty. Are we in? It feels like we're in. Now we're in. Okay. So that's one wall. And then we got this guy here. It looks like our rear wall, but we're going to do him last. We've got our other wall. It's going to go in on this side. Go. All right. And I got to get E6. E6 is our front wall. So let's grab that E tree again. E6 right here. Okay. He's our front wall. And he's going to slide down over these little notches here and lock the front all in while also going into the holes at the bottom. Let's see here. Are you going to cooperate? Maybe. There we go. It's a bit of a snug fit, but he's in all the way. So this should match up and line up to the bottom there. See where I see the white primer is touching? That should go all the way down to there on both sides. See, I don't have it all the way there on this side. See that? That's got to go down further. That might take a little bit of brute force. Take me lining it up better. I'm expecting to feel it click. Oh, there we go. Yes, that's all it took. Of course, that's putting pressure on that, so this wants to come up. But that's all right. I'm not gluing anything yet because we still have to put our strut in for the landing gear. Okay, so there we go. I've got 3 walls in. I guess technically 4, but if you want to count the floor, I call it the floor because it's pointing down right now. It's going to go up in the plane and become the ceiling, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's look at our strut. I kind of want to paint the chrome on the strut. We got a couple of places that need to have chrome paint on them. In particular, they want this little thing painted chrome. And of course, in my line of work, we call that a ram. It's the hydraulic part that goes inside there that is always chrome and shiny. I'm going to, because I just want to do a quick job here, we're going to grab a chrome pen. This happens to be just a chrome pen I got off of Amazon. Made by Steady, S-T-E-D-I, Steady. Yeah. They come in a pack. You get a chrome one and a gold one. It's basically just chrome ink like Molotow. It just happens to come in a pen form. It's the exact same stuff. This one just happens to be Chinese made, that's all. And it looks good. It looks like chrome. And of course, if you touch it, it turns gray. So putting it on a spot like this is good because you never really touch your landing gear. And there you go. So we got a nice chrome ram there. Okay. And it looks good. They look good when you do that. All right. Yeah, these chrome pens, they really are a game changer for guys who've been searching for chrome stuff. For some kind of a chrome paint for years and years. Okay, so there's our, let's put this away. There's our landing gear strut with a really ugly nub mark on it. Right here. I want to clean that. I mean, yeah, to the untrained eye, it's just another little thing sticking out of the landing gear that you have no idea what it is. But there's also those that know exactly Nobody in my household knows. I have no idea. So it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you have this block that's at the top of this, right here. Okay, I want to show you guys what Tamiya would have you do. Okay, so they want you to put this down and it's kind of laying down inside here and not glue it. See, there's no glue. Don't glue M4. Put it down there. But then later on in the book, we're going to see at some point, finally, you're dealing with that with your front landing gear. Since it's laying down, where do they do it? Where do they do it? I was looking through before. Here, step number 24, deploying the nose gear. So you cut off as shown to deploy the nose landing gear. So you have it lying down. They want you to cut that piece off. Cut it off right there. Okay, they show it again here. You show it right there. Cut that off, and then you can flip it up, right? And then glue it in place. They want you to glue the sides there. Now, although that's nice that we can have this laying down for the whole time that you're assembling the plane, I don't see any point in keeping that block there just so that it stays laying down. So let's just flip this over the way they want it, like this, and then it's going to lie down there. So what it does is this block kind of rests on our little pipe so that this cannot accidentally flip. That's what it does, is it prevents it from flipping. But I don't want to bother with that. I really don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this little block off. Okay. I'm going to cut our block off. Put this guy in these little holes. There's two little holes, one in each wall. Of course, with my pins painted, it's tight. Let's get him lined up and positioned in this wall. Get in there. There you go. Okay, he's in. So yeah, I can now do this, right? I can rotate mine, but it's not like it's just going to fall out and be an annoyance to me. It's a tight fit. So when the time comes, I'm going to flip it up and then I'll glue these in place like you're supposed to. But until then, I'm just going to leave it like that. The final part of this is to glue our back wall in this position. Oh yeah, see, our little pipe is to go into that little hole. See the little hole in the wall? Our little pipe there goes into that. And this just goes doink. Just like that. And that just fits absolutely perfect. Perfect little fit. Just like that. And so there's all our walls. There's our nose gear bay, all done. Let's grab some Tamiya extra thin and let's glue all our walls in, including our little pipe, all these little notches, all these little tabs, everything except the landing gear strut. With the precision that Tamiya uses in having this all fit together, it's really nice. Everything just fits perfectly. That's really nice. Thank you, Tamia. Great job. And that makes this one done. Step 4 is finished. Yay. Let's have a look at our cockpit here. I want to apply a little bit, one last application of the Mark Fit on here, just to make this suck down more. I want my decals to suck. There we go. So let's put this aside. And that would be it for that. Okay. Let's put our decals aside here. They can go there. Okay. So this is finished. So what I'm going to do, just so that I know it's done, we're going to do this. That part's done. I'm not ready to install my bucket into the top fuselage yet, but I do have a piece here. A55 has to go into the fuselage. Let's put our little landing gear pod aside. We have the top of our fuselage, of course, is primered white, just like everything else, and not inside. But they want us to put this little guy in here, right in here. I guess this is a gun. I don't know what that is. Is that the gun pod? It's kind of weird that it's open and this side's not. I'm not sure. So that could be the gun pod. But A55, this is our A sprue, right? Yes. I find 55. It's 59, 8, 25. No, 55 right here. This little guy right here. So he's nicely shaped, I guess, the way that they want him to be. And he just happens to sit in that little spot perfectly. That's really nice. Pressed, make sure it's in there, guys. Good. Okay, A55, that one's done, just like that. Closes up that little hole. There we go. That one's done. Okay, obviously this is done, but we haven't done that yet. Let's go back to step 1. Step 1, we're talking about drilling holes in our fuselage to allow for some things. What things? Well, in particular, you've got A60 and 61 that go onto the top of the fuselage if you're going to be doing a radar cross-section enhancer. They are affixed during basic training exercises, but not in live action or more complex exercises. So, if you're attaching them to the model, you got to make the holes in those locations, here and here. Okay? They show you precisely over here on this side. And what Tamiya oftentimes does is on the inside of the fuselage, they may have little indents to show you exactly where they need to be drilled. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's one right there. There's an indent right there. It doesn't go through. You don't have it through on this side, but that's where you're going to drill. If that's what you want to put there and there, and over on this side, here and here. And then, of course, we got 2 holes here and here that we need to drill, and that's for this little pod thing that's going to go on top. Okay, so I'm not doing the basic training exercise one, so I'm not going to be doing these 2. I'm not doing these holes. I am going to do these 2 though. Okay, so they show 1.5 millimeters. So all I do, since Tamiya is nice enough to give us a guide right there, I'm just going to pick one of my pin vices that I happen to have a drill bit that's already big enough. And that's probably this one. And that is perfect. So just going to go through here. Quite through yet. Almost. We're almost through. I got a bit of a dimple now. We're almost through. There we go. The same here. Now, if you're, don't do this. Don't do this. Okay, don't drill with your finger on the other side. If you want to use your fingers to support it, do this. Put two fingers, do two fingers put on each side. That way when the drill comes through, it's just with a frozen, it's just going to pop through in between your fingers like that. Okay, so that's what you do. If you want to use your fingers and support it, do that so that it's on each side and you're not going to go into your own fingers. Okay, because that's with the pressure you're using, there's a very good chance it just pops through on you. And you don't want to stab yourself with a drill bit. Okay, it doesn't feel good. It won't feel good. And then you're bleeding. And then you either see, it just went through that far. That could have been going into my finger. You know, it's very possible. But I was using my safety and everything. So now, just to make sure, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, just very lightly go around there, get rid of the burrs, like so, clean up those holes, just like that. So now I got two holes in the top of my fuselage. There we go. Okay, let's put this aside. We have to do a little bit of assembly on a couple of things here. I have to grab my K tree, K1, 2, and 5. Let's find those. G, C, F. Okay, so K is not in my box. That means it might be a different sprue. Where is K? Is that going to be a clear sprue? I don't think so. The clear sprue is B, so it's not that. K. Let's look at the back of our instructions to see what the K sprue looks like. To me, it normally shows pictures of what your sprues all look like and what's on them. They don't in this kit for some reason. It's probably in one of the supplemental ones that I throw away, right? Okay, I gotta find my K sprue. Now that could very well be something like this, where they've got it attached like this. Sometimes they'll have this as a sprue number, this is a sprue number. But this is also A, and that's A, so that's not this one. That's not the case here. So, where is it? Where's my K sprue? This is my K sprue. So I need 1, 2, and 5. It's 5, 2, and 1. There we go. All right. Let's just do a test fit. This obviously has the pegs that are going to go in those two holes I just drilled. And they're tight, which tells me my drill bit is not quite 1.5 millimeters. But what we can do is go in here and we just kind of go on a little bit of an angle while turning and make these holes a little bit bigger. And now try that. It's tight, but it goes. So when I put glue on that, the glue will act like a lubricant and help me push that in. Good. All right, let's clean these up and make sure I've got my nubs all nice. Especially this one. Wow. A terrible job cutting that one clean. There we go. Okay. So what they want me to do is put this in between these two guys. Kind of like, just like this. Not kind of just like this, but exactly like this. So put some glue along here. Then we'll grab our second half. Do that. Interesting little pod. There we go. Okay, so that's assembled. And now we have G19 needs to go onto the back there. It looks like a engine nozzle cover of some sort. Let's find my G spot. I mean my G sprue. G19 is this one here. There we go. Looks like I got that cut off pretty clean. All right, let's see how that fits on there. It's gonna go on there just like this. And that is a very nice fit. I will say so, if I do say so myself, and I do say so myself. That's a nice fit. Obviously, I got a little bit more primer on this one than I did on the fuselage, but it's not important. What's important is the fact that I can glue it from underneath. Let's make sure this is pressed down good, nice and tight. There we go. All right, so now this guy. I'm going to apply a little bit of glue. Now, which way does he go? He goes with the I'm going to say the steeper end goes towards the back. But I want to just kind of sand this down just a little bit here. I feel like I've got a kind of a rough edge right where the two meet. It's probably where the plastic softened a little bit and became a little rough. I'd like to try and have the illusion this is one piece and not two pieces of plastic stuck together. If I can hide the seam line, then I'm happy. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna put a little glue on our little pegs, soften those up just a little bit. And I'll apply a little more once I've pushed this in. See, with that little bit of glue on there, it softened up the plastic just enough that they just slid right into those holes. There we go. So our weird little pod in the middle is on now. Our center stabilizer. There you go. All right. So there's that. Good. That's this part done. As far as the front, we've got a couple of things here. They want us to paint this in. They want that A22 put in there. I can put A22 in there because, well, that's good. So let's find A22. See, I'm restricted in a few things when I need to paint it, and I need to paint something before I install the part on there. Which is the case on a lot of things. But in this case, A22 is going to be the same color as everything surrounding it, so I don't have to worry about that. All I got to worry about is my nubs being clean. And that's done. So A22 is going to sit back over here, and he's got two little pins, but I don't see any holes for it back here. They show the pins here, or they show the holes, but there are no holes here. Are there holes? Ah. So I'm supposed to drill those holes 1 millimeter. This will work. I missed this part. I missed it completely. I didn't know I was supposed to drill holes here. But that's what I'm doing now. One. And two. Okay. Let's get rid of those nasty burrs. Okay, 2 holes drilled. Let's see if they line up. So that would really suck if they don't. We're good. Okay, I'm safe to glue this down. Just like that. Okay, so we got that in there. That's all the glue she needs. I don't think we need to glue from here, but just in case. Just in case. I think we're good. All right, so that's installed. B2 is supposed to go over top of here, but B2 is clear. And so they show you painting underneath of it is the black. Painting under here black, putting B2 on, and they say fuselage color. So this part's supposed to be fuselage color, and the rest of it clear. And then they want this section white, and the rest of this all black. Yeah. And then we've got this part here. It's also supposed to, we've got to paint chrome inside here, and then put a clear part on, but mask part of it off and put it on there. So that's a lot of work. I'm going to do that later on. So there's little things like that. I've got a lot more. See, they show you here B2 and B9. Okay, that's these two, B2 and B9. And they show where you're supposed to mask and everything like that. And then the rest of it's supposed to be fuselage color. So some of it's supposed to be left clear while the other is not. So that's all stuff for later, okay? Skip back over to here. Let's have a look one last time at my cockpit. Where did I put my cockpit? Looking in the wrong spot. It looks like my mark fit is finally, it's almost dry, but not quite. But that's what she's looking like so far. So I want to let that dry completely. Let's dump that out. I want to let that dry completely and let that settle. And then we'll deal with the rest of that next time. I'll get in there and I'll paint my little details on this. I'll do that off camera. I have a lot more little detail painting to do for next time. As we start getting into things like this, I need to mask my intakes off, and I need to paint these, paint that done. I got to get this painted. And then, of course, we've got our big guys, the big main painting thing. You got lots of painting to do on our weapons bay. I got a lot of painting to do on that. So got a lot of painting to do off camera. Okay. I got a lot more painting to do off camera. So this is basically where I'm going to end this one for today and do a bunch of stuff later on. Okay. This is where we're going to end it, guys. I want to thank you for watching. And don't forget, there is a description box below where you'll see some links to my other things, like my Instagram and my Twitch and my X channel. You can check those out too. Every time I finish one, like I just finished John Wick's 1970 Chevelle. Took a bunch of pictures of it. I put it up on my Instagram, so you should check those out. And you can see other things, everything else that I've built in like the last 5-6 years, something like that. Yeah, you can check those out too if you want. Don't forget though, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it, and help my channel grow. I'd really love it, guys. I love the support. Well, everybody loves support, right? But I really appreciate the support, okay? That's really what I meant to say. Leave a comment down below too. You know, I love interacting with you guys. So, thank you again, and we'll see you in part 3.